Rebecca, what happens to the people that want to come out of Satanism?
They get killed, they get followed, they get taken, they get sacrificed in front of the congregation of the Satanic Church.
Why?
Because they know too much information about the Satanists and who their names and places of where they keep the people underground, and they just know too much information. There's no, it's like being in a gang or in a mafia. You don't get out alive without consequences.
Oh my God, this is gonna be a good night.
Thank you for allowing me into your living room once again. In my humble opinion, this show is, and it always has been,
this is a revolution of the mind.
For you. And
how could you let it happen, Jack?
I'd like to apologize.
How could you let it happen?
Turn it off!
Stop watching this.
It's showtime, folks.
Shaka-licka-ding-dong. If you go to the end, you'll see the devil. No, you won't. He doesn't exist. That's what he wants you to think.
Why don't you mind your own business, you old fuck?
Okay.
Jack, I feel like there's some kind of conversation that we need to be having here.
What's about to be revealed is that
the body of the missing 5-year-old girl was recovered yesterday.
So the kid was killed?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I think a lot of these kids who are brought up by these Satanists who sacrifice these children in religious rituals.
Do you believe that's true?
I don't know. I just made that up. Seems like something that, maybe I saw that on a TV show.
I'm sure it goes on.
Yeah, it sounds like the plot of a movie.
You have no humanity.
I don't think I do.
You have no remorse at all about any of the people you murdered.
It just don't seem to affect me. I mean, I could kill a person and just go out to dinner. I don't care. I got a kick out of cutting them up. I mean,
you get a kick out of cutting them up?
Yeah. Seemed like after the first one, it just got good to me. You know. At first, I was kind of nervous about it. But then after the first one, it was like, it wasn't just women. I mean, they was men too. They just didn't find none of them. I didn't tell them about none of them, so, you know.
So you killed a greater number of people than the police know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They might have a tenth of it. I'll put it that way.
Who am I? Am I a place or a feeling? Am I my past?
I hear so many people, you know, say, well, you know, religion does a lot of good. They help the poor people. There should be no poor people. Oh, they feed people that are hungry. There should be no hungry people. Say, as long as there's a necessity of a religion to help the poor people, then I want to know who is keeping those people poor and who is requiring those people to have to ask for it. There is plenty. Remember we were talking the other day? There's not enough money for people to have that are out of work. There's not enough money for people to have food. Yet when there's need for a war, all of a sudden there's billions of dollars to shoot missiles all over the place. So that's Antichrist. Whether you call it, whether you support it, you want to pray for the boys or pray for victory, that's Antichrist. There cannot be money by the billions. I don't mean just, you know how each one of those missiles to launch could feed an army. See? And you have people in Atlantic City, you have people all over the place, poor people, oppressed people, hurt people. And the simple problem these people have is they cannot keep up with the system. Well, the system is in many ways a corrupt system, and its religions are corrupt, and therefore they simply take from people, take thousands upon thousands of dollars. Well, that's Antichrist. Because Jesus is not involved in that kind of thing.
Our mortal enemies. They want to see us wiped off the face of the earth. You have to study these things to understand your enemy. Any general who ventures upon a battlefield without understanding the enemy is doomed to defeat. Just like a militia that forms itself upon a peninsula has already created its own concentration camp. What is the upshot of this? What am I getting at here? These people believe, and they have conducted themselves according to their belief and their philosophy since the very dawn of man. These people learned how to control others through the use of a hidden knowledge. This ability to keep that fire going was a technology that nobody else knew. By observing the fire, by keeping it going, by creating ceremonies around this fire, they became a mystery to the others. A mystery always holds sway over those who don't understand it. And the priesthood was born. No king ever existed without the permission of the priesthood. And I don't care what religion you're talking about or what period of history you're talking about, it is the truth. The kings never had the power and don't to this day. Kings exist at the whim of the real power, which is the priesthood standing behind the throne. And when the king ceased to be of benefit to the priesthood, they would simply poison him or get rid of him in some other way. The king is dead, long live the king, and there would be another king appointed. There was even a time in history when the king was a sacrificial king, just like John F. Kennedy was in the Temple of the Sun known as Dealey Plaza. They would pick a young man at the height of his virility, appoint him king for 1 year. During that time, he could do or say or command whatever he wanted. The priesthood was always there to make sure he commanded the right things, have any woman that he wanted, and at the end of the year, he was ceremoniously sacrificed upon a rock, his heart ripped out, his body dismembered into 14 pieces and scattered over the land. And this is where the legend of the Osirian cycle began. It was to ensure the fertility of the crops of the next year. And young men would volunteer for this in their patriotic duty to their kingdom, to their family, so that they could have prosperous years. Much as our young men may volunteer to rush out over the water to a place called Kuwait or Iraq and die in the godforsaken sands of a place that nobody can even find on a map, I never heard of until it happened, all so that he can be called a patriot, someone his family can be proud of. It escapes me how they can ever arrive at these conclusions, but they do, and the priesthood always takes the most advantage of this willingness to sacrifice oneself upon the altar of his country. The problem with it is very seldom really for the country. It's for the advancement of the agenda of the priesthood, whoever the priests happen to be at the time. Am I attacking the church? You better believe it. All churches, all organized religions that have existed since the beginning of the time. Am I attacking the religion of individuals? Never, not on your life. He wasn't trying to create a big church. He knew what happened to those things. And you're all wrong about that, man. When you say you shouldn't get angry, you shouldn't curse, you shouldn't do things that upset other people, because that's what Jesus spent his whole life doing. He threw the money changers out of the temple. Don't you think that made some people angry? Don't you think it was rude to walk up to somebody's place of business, smack them in the mouth, grab their table, and throw it out the door? What about the time he cursed the fig tree? You know, pious Christians sometimes make me very angry. They don't even know Christianity. They don't know the man they're following. He was a revolutionary. He was a dangerous man. And by God, so am I. And so should you be. This country was founded by dangerous men. Amen. And the moment the people in this country cease to be dangerous men, it's going to be the day we cease to have a country. Their whole goal with this philosophy is to teach all men and women that the only end of life is to seek the utmost pleasure and happiness that you can get out of it, because when you die, there's nothing else. That's what they teach. That's what they want you to be. They don't want laws against sexual promiscuity. That's why they don't want families. That's why they don't want marriage. That's why they encourage homosexuality. There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours, because you're operating from a place of ignorance. And until you change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield. That's why you're losing the war. And don't tell me you're not, because I'm in a place of great knowledge about who's winning and who's losing this war. And I can assure you, you're losing the war. Doesn't mean it can't be turned around. But it'll never be turned around until you learn what you need to know. You don't even recognize half the weapons that they use against you. And some of them seem so insignificant that you don't even try. They want to create a world where everybody is happy all the time, doing all of the things that, if you're from a good religious upbringing, is wrong to do. If you're not from a religious upbringing, but you have a good brain and you understand the purpose of morals and ethics, it's still the wrong thing to do. If you're a thinking person. And then the priests had an army. Oh boy, weren't they happy with that? Their whole purpose throughout history has been to teach a small number of people how to become adept at controlling everyone else, and presenting their societies as desirable to the profane, so that you'll go knock on the door and say, hey, can I be a member? And be initiated, with the promise of learning some great secret. What is that secret? The secret is what I have just told you this morning. The secret is how to control everybody else.
it'll just disappear.
A satanic statue in the apartment, and the gang members said they wanted to offer the beast a soul. Police say Hernández Rivera and Álvarez Flores killed the girl execution style. Killers confessed to the crime after they were arrested. 22-year-old Miguel Álvarez Flores, there you see on the left, and 18-year-old Diego Hernández Rivera on the right appeared in court this week. Now, according to HPD, most MS13 gang members are in this country illegally, and these two murder suspects could be as well. Police say they have reported the two to Homeland Security. Now, an investigator told us this morning that officers found evidence in the apartment where these gang members were keeping underage girls that led police to believe there was some sort of satanic ritual activity happening there. HPD says there were 3 underage girls in the apartment of the murder suspects, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old who was murdered, and then a 16-year-old girl. Police say the 14-year-old told detectives she was kidnapped, drugged, and sexually assaulted by members of the MS13 gang. Now, the 14-year-old also reportedly told investigators she was moved from one apartment to another, forced into consuming drugs and alcohol, then at one point was held down as Álvarez Flores tattooed the image of the Grim Reaper on her body from her knee down to her foot. This girl also told police the 15-year-old at the apartment was a girl named Genesis. She believes Genesis is the girl found dead.
The world must understand that trees are suffering and that the trees are crying out. Now,
the number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Did you wake me up?
Yes, I woke you up.
How could you do it?
I tried not to.
I'm gonna be sick. I can't see.
Aurora, please.
Stay away from me.
It's real, as much as we fucking thought.
I state without reservation that the United States federal government is the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. The probability that thousands of these UACs are being raped at this very moment is 100%.
Victims of satanic abuse or Satanists themselves, as Ray Wire has. If there is an expert on satanic cults, it would have to be him.
Do you believe Teresa's story?
I believe Teresa's story. It's exactly the same story as I've heard from men who says they've done it.
You've dealt with other cases like hers?
Yes.
21 cases like hers, he says, in the past 2 years alone.
Themes like they were put in boxes with spiders and worms, where they were trapped in fear, where there was a high use of excrement and urine, where there was talk of human sacrifice.
Take just one of those rituals, putting children in boxes with spiders and worms. Now, listen to what Teresa told her mother.
And they had a coffin-like box that children were put in with spiders and snakes and the lid shut and left in there. I would have come out deranged. I could not have coped with that mentally at all.
You have evidence to back up stories like Teresa's, that this is really happening?
Well, we have that age of child, 6, 5 and 4, giving information that ties up with Teresa. How do those children know? How do those children able to describe rituals, to talk about ceremonies, to talk about sacrificing animals? How do those children know?
Nightmares, imagining it?
You can't imagine those things at 3 and 4 years old, and you also don't have the evidence of anal sex abuse and oral sex abuse and all that other abuse that clearly those children have experienced and endured.
During these ceremonies, was Satan, the devil, ever referred to?
He was called Lucifer.
What did they say about the devil, about Lucifer?
That killing the people made him happy.
Sacrifices to please the devil. According to Teresa, the worst rituals took place at a house somewhere in the country.
It was big, you know, expensive. From the front, it looked like a castle. You know, it had a long drive and big double wooden doors.
Do you think they were rich people then?
Very rich.
Whose blood was you drinking?
I didn't even...
Where'd the blood come from?
Dad killed an animal and got the blood from the animal.
What kind of animal did he kill?
A mole.
A mole? You mean to tell me he had a big meeting out there to kill a mole?
Well, I showed Dad there was a mole.
What's wrong?
It's Mom, my friend. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to kill anybody. Or hurt anybody. Made her take off her clothes. And then they tied her up to this table that I showed you. And then Jay took off his clothes. And then he got on top of Jennifer.
Your mommy is saying some things about some bad things that happened. Do you remember bad things that happened?
Yes.
Do you think that you could tell us, like, can you tell us one thing?
Yes. Like when my dad would come in the middle of the night and put his private in me.
Does Amber know anything about the ritual stuff? And she,
Yes.
did they ever dress up in a costume, or did they? Tell me.
Sometimes they dress up in, like, capes, like things. And they'd pray to the devil. And they'd kill children.
Now, did you ever see anything bad like that?
Yes.
What?
Well, they'd hurt the children, and then they'd hurt them sexually, and then they'd kill the children.
Here's a picture drawn by one of Margaret's daughters. Jim Bob's the next ESS. It's Dad with what appear to be bloody fingernails.
Yes, this is a little girl he killed in Barnegat, New Jersey. And she was just going through the stages of puberty. And the law enforcement officials there, I wrote letters to the police while I was underground. I wrote letters to the FBI. I've been ignored and been told I brainwashed my children and that I'm a liar.
And your kids now are in foster care?
Yes, they're in foster care, and their father does see them, and he has, at this point, begun to terrorize them. And
I want to stop. I want to stop. The father is not here to give his side of the story. His version may be completely...
I use a combination of lies, manipulation, cheating, stealing, gaslighting.
Did you ever see your daddy do anything bad?
Yes.
Can you tell me what?
He's killed people and he's done bad touch to me.
What does that mean?
When he put his penis in my mouth.
Did you ever see, you know the question I asked Amber, who's your same age, I asked her if she ever saw anything that looked like a devil ceremony or anything like that. Did you? Well, what did you see?
They put a snake on me.
What do you mean?
Like, they put a snake right here.
Who's they?
Nick, my dad.
Did any other grown-ups, were they ever with him too?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what often happens is the kids in therapy or when being questioned later by doctors draw their own pictures, their versions of what they saw. Amber, do you want to tell me what this is?
Well, that's my dad.
It's your dad on the right.
And then, that's Stingray, Ruth, my foster mom.
Now, all these names, we don't know if these people are actually involved. This is Amber telling us her version of the story. Go ahead, honey. What's this little blonde girl with that thing around her? What is that?
That's a whole bunch of candles.
Who is that person?
That's, Tony.
Who is Tony?
Tony's one of the children that got killed.
And this is like a ceremony when they killed this baby?
Yes.
Veronica, does she do many of these drawings?
She's done quite a few drawings.
Well, we had to play sick games. Like pick the butt, suck the, chase the, and other ones I can't remember.
Did you ever hurt anybody or see any grown-ups hurt anybody, any children?
Yes.
What? Tell me.
We've killed a 3 or 4-year-old.
Who? How? How did you do that?
We stabbed it a lot.
We have one child who is not eating at all. He's 7 years old.
Which one is he?
Dan.
Yeah, stand up, partner. Yeah, stand right up there. Stand on your chair. Let's see you. Can you take your hat off? Why is he so thin?
He's told me that they forced him to drink blood, eat raw liver from a body.
I can sit down. Okay, sit down. Where, how, why, who was doing it, what?
The boys have told me that their mother and their mother's boyfriend. They've also mentioned 2 doctors.
Now, you know that one possible explanation, and the one that we heard from Margaret, is that you are engaged in a custody battle with your ex-wife over who gets possession of these children. Could it be, Ben, I'm not accusing you, but could it be that this story is the result of your desire to accumulate ammunition to use against your ex so you could keep these children?
Not at all. Not at all. The custody suit, which was started quite a while ago, was started because of the physical and sexual abuse. It's in the documents. It's been documented. We've talked with the children.
What proof is there that the children have been abused?
We have a psychiatrist report that they've been sexually abused. We have a social worker that interviewed them that says the same thing. Talked about the masturbation that was going on. We have a doctor that said there's definitely something wrong inside that home.
These things, they sound like they can't be happening. Ted Gunnarsson, respected law enforcement professional, recently or retired now from the FBI, former regional director of Los Angeles. Do you, sir, believe that these dreadful allegations of babies being sacrificed are true?
I absolutely believe it, without any doubt. Based on the information that's been given to me across the country by numerous survivors and by confidential sources and informants.
Then why didn't you name these people and arrest them? Never a name, never an arrest. These women come out of a group and they insist that they know the people in the group, and yet they do not identify these large, mysterious cults. Name them and arrest them and get them off the street.
Does he not make a valid point?
He makes a valid point. The problem with that is, number one, police officers don't believe it. I may believe it. You may believe it. Some people in your audience may believe it. They don't believe it. Number two, if you decide to investigate these people, you have to, number one, handle it from an undercover operation. If you put an undercover operation into effect, then you have, in a sense, your own police officers become involved in these heinous crimes, and they are, of course, become murderers. And in addition to that, if you do decide to investigate these people, it's a lot of work. And many law enforcement officers are apathetic and don't want to get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this.
Basically that day, he had me like carving ritual symbols into the body, and because the body was in rigor mortis, his penis was completely erect, so he also had me perform like sex with this body, which is one of the worst memories, of course, of my life, because my face was 3 inches away from this huge wound in the bottom half of this guy's face. And so I'm having sex with this corpse, and he's getting off on it. Like, by this point, he had taken the knife and taken a huge slice of this guy's leg off of his thigh muscle and was just chewing on it, because he was cannibalistic as well. So he was chewing on this raw piece. He never cooked it, by the way. He was into raw stuff. So he would eat this piece of this raw leg. He was like enjoying it. You should have seen the look on his face. It was like he was for the first time feeling like this enthusiasm, kind of.
Done by his 7-year-old. Josh had to put his finger up Courtney. Someone obviously strapped and bleeding. Where did you get the children that you told me that you helped to hurt, that you saw being hurt?
Mall.
At a shopping mall?
Yes.
How did you get them, or how did the grown-ups get them?
Well, we had to like say that it was safe and to come out and play and things like that, and he came.
And then what happened?
Well, I threw a tennis ball. The kid missed it, and then Courtney grabbed him and put him in his car, got me in, and we went.
You know, he went to get ready for you down.
After 2 days of testifying, she requested to show the court her burnt back.
I have accepted it, but I really wanted them to see. So every time, so they can have a reason why they're in there, and they can get flashbacks of my back being burnt.
She's beautiful. I miss her so much, you don't understand.
Wagner's statement revealed the group had always been intoxicated when discussing Satanism. He also admitted to drawing a star on a nearby rock, tying up the logo, pouring petrol over her body, and setting her alight. But 2 years later, Wagner says they were just a group of youngsters curious about devil worship.
Once an idea has taken hold in the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks.
Recommendation engine for YouTube recently suggested videos claiming that politicians, celebrities, and other elite figures were sexually abusing or consuming the remains of children, often in satanic rituals, according to watchdog group Algo Transparency. The claims echo and often cite the discredited Pizzagate conspiracy, One recent variation on the theory, which began spreading on YouTube this spring, claimed that Democrat Hillary Clinton and her longtime aide Huma Abedin had sexually assaulted a girl and drank her blood, a conspiracy theory its proponents dubbed frazzle drip. Now, the article goes on to describe how this frazzle drip conspiracy is all over YouTube, and some of the frazzle drip clips purport to show grainy images of Clinton and Abedin committing crimes and speak of invoking the death penalty. One video, which has been viewed 77,000 times and remains online today, has a voiceover that says, "Will these children become the dessert at the conclusion of the meal?" So, and this is just one example that they use of extreme right and paranoid conspiracy groups using YouTube as a place to trade their videos and to promote propaganda. What is your company policy on that, and are you trying to deal with it?
You know, we are constantly undertaking effort to deal with misinformation, but you know, we have clearly stated policies, and we have made lots of progress in many of the areas where, you know, over the past year. So, for example, in areas like terrorism, child safety, and so on. One of the videos discussed included images of a body on a table before restrained children and of Hillary Clinton with a bloodied mouth claiming that she and Abedin drank the blood of their victim. That was removed, but then another consisting of an exact copy of the video remained online, or apparently remains online.
What big profile people are in this pedophile ring?
Do you want names?
Sure.
Hillary Clinton.
You think Hillary Clinton's a pedophile?
Worse.
What's worse than a pedophile?
Human sacrifice, child sacrifice, newborn babies. There's something in their blood that apparently gives them some euphoric experience.
It's called adrenochrome. It acts as a drug, essentially.
Where do they get the babies from?
Haiti.
A lot of these babies are bred specifically for that purpose.
Give me 5 names of big names that are going down.
Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, John McCain, George Bush, and
Obama.
James Comey.
What is QAnon?
QAnon is basically a shadow civil war between rogue intelligence agencies and good guys, for lack of a better term.
Do we all agree on this? This exists?
QAnon 100%.
100%.
Yes. Oh yeah.
100%. Q's a guy that's on the internet.
Not a guy.
Not a guy.
It's a group. The people that have the full scope of the picture is less than 10. We shouldn't be caught up on who is Q. It's more of what is it.
He says that because
the shit I do for my
Punisher.
Guarantee I'll lose my sanity.
He's dead.
What was you expecting when I
Looks
go
like the work of a dead man.
Everybody yelling when the bullets into second. People with the Punisher. I'ma shut them off like a muffler. Hell with the pain and the suffering. Not much left to recover. Trauma had turned into a monster. Keep eating me like karma. Try to fuck with me, you're a corner. Every single one I gotta slaughter. If you lay a hand on my Carter, ripping off every fucking limb. No longer gonna live. Put the minute to your mental. There's a lot I gotta settle when you're coming from the ghetto. It's a different type of level. There's a lot I overcame, but I'm living with the pain. So give me Novocaine, I can put it to my brain.
Should I kill myself or have a cup of coffee?
I don't think I see the point, Stan.
The point is, we came here to do a job, right? Infiltrate, embed, destroy. Look around. There is no destruction left to be done here. The guy has done more damage than we could hope to do in a fucking lifetime. And I know what you're thinking. Doesn't sound that bad, right?
Warning. Unusual audio-visual activity in your
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Basically, if the government wants to go after you, they'll just find a reason.
Hashem, we must shut him down.
You ever think about,
Fuck no.
No, please, don't make me do what I can't do. I can't do it. I love you.
Baby, I hate seeing you like this.
Fuck family, fuck loyalty, cost them a dime, you're a fucking pariah.
Excuse me, why are you all wearing masks? Do you have any comment on that? Why are you hiding your identity?
Do you have any shame, sir? There's still time to redeem yourself. Would you like to see the footage that we caught of the girl admitting what's going on? Were their IDs even checked just there? Were their IDs even just checked? Who checked their IDs? I didn't see any ID check just there. There was no ID check. Right. Why weren't their IDs checked? If I was going to go here...
I can't talk to you about that.
I'm going to ask you, why do you guys ID American citizens when those children can you guys an ID them?
I'm not going to say anything on camera.
Are a lot of the kids coming over here, are they trafficked or like what's the...
Some are. I'm not going to lie. Some are.
Does that happen a lot that the kids come over here with a totally fake name?
It has.
Yeah?
I mean, there's no way for us to verify.
And so they come over here with a fake name and then they just come over and what? They just get a brand new identity. They could be anybody.
Have you seen the movie?
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Shit happens.
You guys get the kids coming over here with the notes that are attached to them with the addresses, right? And a lot of times those addresses lead to like a sex trafficker or something, right? That's legit.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit that we can't tell.
What's the issue though? Why can't you guys talk on camera?
It's the policies that we have, things that we can and can't say.
But why don't they want you talking on camera?
Politics.
Politics. What, like making the administration look bad? Or?
Yeah.
Damn.
Honestly, bro, I really wish there was more people like you.
Yeah.
Exposing this shit.
Yeah.
Because it sucks. It truly is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
It is a horrible thing. But me, I can't do that.
But you could blow the whistle on it.
No, I can't.
You could, but you're going to lose your job.
Yeah, exactly.
You work for MVM, and MVM is an organization that has moved thousands of...
I don't work for you.
You do not work for MVM?
I'm on vacation.
We've now landed in Houston, and it appears as if MVM has requested a police escort because they don't want media exposing what they're doing. But if you look, they have all of the kids wearing masks and they have them keeping their head down. All of the kids wearing masks, keeping their head down. They're telling them to hide their face. Many of these kids go missing. You said that you were on vacation and now you're moving this small child to the airport. I thought you were on vacation. Ma'am, I thought you were on vacation. What happened to that? Do you have any comment about children that have gone missing that you've helped to...
The child welfare come in here in 30 minutes, that's on y'all. My kid's downstairs. 15 minutes, the kids have to go. Thank you very much.
2 teachers and 2 aides have been suspended so far. Still, they don't feel comfortable sending their kids back to school. What happened with the sticker?
The sticker makes me fall asleep.
This is 4-year-old Lane Luviano. She's the one that broke this case open in September when she snuck one of her sleepy stickers out of the classroom.
She kind of pulled up her little shorts and said, "Mom, look, this is my sleeping sticker." And I was like, "The what?" When
Lane's mom, Lisa, saw the sticker, she thought it was strange and asked her daughter about it.
And the teacher gives it to you, where she put it? On my arm.
On your arm? Which part? Point to it. Right up there?
Yeah.
And what's it look like?
Sleeping with a moon on it.
Lane's dad says he's known something was wrong since school first started.
2 o'clock in the morning, I'm hearing some noise in the room, and I'm going over there, she's still up.
And so she gives you the sticker, you put the sticker on, and it makes you tired?
Yeah.
Wow. And all the kids get them?
Yeah. They never notified the parents.
So Lisa took matters into her own hands. She reached out to the other parents in Lane's class, sent them pictures of the patch to see if their kids were getting the stickers too.
I showed it to my 4-year-old, and she said, yes, that's the sleepy sticker.
Melissa Guilford immediately went online to research the sticker.
Sleep Z patch. Okay, so, and if you read the ingredients on them, it has a lot of, it's just things I've never even heard of.
And they're giving them drugs to make them sleep, to keep them quiet.
Najala Abdullah tells us she'd noticed changes in her son, who told her he'd been getting the stickers too. She says he'd been crying, stopped eating, and was bringing home lunches that he hadn't touched. The parents shared with us an email they received from Northgate Crossing Elementary's principal today. The email states 2 of the school staff members were put on leave after they allegedly administered sleeping supplements to students on September 24th. The email also states the Spring ISD Police Department is investigating.
a woman in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. I had a woman, I've never really said this in public out loud in front of a lot of cameras, and there's a lot of cameras in this room now. But I had a mother to call me because her son had a very gruesome task. Her son's charge by the Department of Defense was to process 5,000 bodies that had received a single bullet wound to the head. And these were mostly males. And her son was afraid to talk because he had signed a silence agreement. So he only complained to his mother. But the data about these individuals was entered into a Pentagon computer. And then reportedly, the bodies were dumped in a swamp in Louisiana. This is as a result of the tragedy of Hurricane Katrina. Now, I have and I have verification from insiders who wish to remain anonymous at the Red Cross that this is true. I suspect that these were prisoners, and so you know this investigation of the whole prison industrial complex is extremely important, and it should not end with just a question of the nature of prisons in our country, but these 5,000 souls also need some justice too.
We plan to execute between 70 and 80,000. We plan to evacuate between 70 and 80,000 people.
You know, we are ready for the next pandemic, but it'll take tens of billions in R&D that the US and the UK will be part of that. It'll take probably about $1 billion a year for a pandemic task force at the WHO level, which is doing the surveillance and actually doing what I call germ games, where you practice. You say, okay, what if a bioterrorist brought smallpox to 10 airports? You know, how would the world respond to that? You know, that there's naturally caused epidemics and bioterrorism caused epidemics that could even be way worse than what we experience today. And yet the advances in medical science should give us tools that, you know, we could do dramatically better. So you'd think this would be a priority. The next year will be where those allocations have to get made, including this global pandemic task force. The nice thing is a lot of the R&D we need to do to be ready for the next pandemic are things like making vaccines cheap, having big factories, eradicating the flu, getting rid of the common cold, making vaccines just a little patch you put on your arm, things that will be incredibly beneficial even in the years when we don't have pandemics. So, you know, along with the climate message and the ongoing fight against disease of the poor, the pandemic preparedness is something I'll be talking about a lot. And I think it'll find fertile ground because, you know, we lost trillions of dollars and millions of lives. And, you know, citizens expect their governments not to let that happen again.
I found that nothing in this world operates the way you think it does. Banks do not loan money. Governments are not empowered to protect you. Police department is not there to serve you. Institutions of higher learning, colleges and educational institutes are not there to educate you. A combination of brilliantly put together and planned, well-planned schemes to direct minds of the people in such a way as to serve their masters. And I've known that for a long time.
Most of us feel discomfort when we think about pedophiles. But just like pedophiles, we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them, but we are responsible for our actions, and we must make a decision. It is our responsibility to reflect and to overcome our negative feelings about pedophiles.
What the fuck? No.
And to treat them with the same respect we treat other people with. We should accept that pedophiles are people who have not chosen their sexuality and who, unlike most of us, will never be able to live it out freely if they want to lead an upright life.
Who greenlights this shit? Why? Why? Like, actually, what kind of galaxy gas are you huffing? That's craziness.
We should accept that pedophilia is a sexual preference.
I'm sorry. I have a question. Is there a secret to being funny?
Yes. From an emotional point of view, I can kind of understand that you would want to eliminate these people from society.
I went from happy to angry. Skip said, now I feel like kicking his ass.
However, it doesn't make sense. And that's because we're talking about biology. We're talking about a sexual orientation. Something that we simply cannot change.
You know how important it is. We gotta protect that. Project 2025 wants to get rid of all this lick spittles.
This lick spittles. And on top of that, every day, new people are born with the same difficulty.
Motherfucker!
So it's not practical to eliminate these people from society. They haven't done anything wrong.
Shit.
In the mysteries, they believe that the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is a metaphor for the evolution of mankind. Now remember, this is what they believe. That man was being held prisoner in the bonds, the chains of ignorance in the Garden of Eden by an unjust and vindictive and terrible God. He was set free by Lucifer through his agent Satan with the gift of intellect, which was brought to man with fire. The story of Prometheus bringing the gift of fire from heaven to mankind is the story of Satan enticing Eve and then Adam through Eve to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In other words, they believed that the great fall of man was not a fall at all, but was a tremendous gift from Lucifer, who is their God. What does Lucifer represent? The intellect, knowledge. Some man went to that tree when it was burning after it was struck by that lightning, after Lucifer was flung out of heaven by God. In Greek, he was called Prometheus, gave the gift of fire to man. Fire has ever since been the symbol of learning, knowledge, intellect. Why do you think every great book of learning has inside the front cover a lamp with a flame, or a torch? Why do you think after they killed him, they put an eternal flame on the grave of John F. Kennedy? It represents the conquering of nature and the universe by the mind, the intellect of man. It represents the apotheosis of humanity, the perfection of the race which they seek. It's important that you understand this because you're going to see this symbology everywhere. How many of you have really been to Dealey Plaza? What did you see there?
At the top we were there, we didn't know to look for the things that we do now.
You didn't see anything, did you? People go there every day, they don't see anything. How many of you knew that the ancient pyramids were never burial chambers? Never. Okay, some of you are up to date. Most of you aren't, but most of you don't know this. They were not burial chambers, they were temples of initiation, in which the candidate was placed in the sarcophagus, suffered a mystical or symbolic death, lay 3 days in the coffin alone, and then was raised by the grip of the lion's paw, given a new name, and sent through the initiation in the passageways of the pyramid. How many of you knew that the sum total of all of the knowledge of the primitive peoples was built into the pyramids to be passed on to the initiates? The mysteries are old. Freemasonry is old.
Damn, that was... I think that we're fucked, right?
I'm gonna slice you up.
My one and only goal as a social media person is to make some money.
When I say that I want these things, I mean that I want them, and I don't want to have to ask again.
You're confusing fiction and reality, brother.